What is going on, guys? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Weiss Schwarz deck profile. This time it's going to be my budget Kaguya Love is War deck profile. So this is the deck profile specifically for those who are on a budget and want to build a competitive Weiss deck. And when I total out the price on this deck came out to be about $50. I know there are some videos there going a little bit under, but I wanted to stay within their range, which was around like $40 to $50, because that's what I feel is like the lowest you can actually get to being budget but competitively budget but competitive friendly. So the rest of the decks like that you'll see that's like under the $40 range would be more towards casual. And I remember one person asking a budget for a budget deck, and I wanted to put my own spin to it because he was looking for a more casual one, and I'll have a casual one later in the near future, but I wanted to do something that's competitive and budget at the same time. So with Kaguya-sama, I decided to see if there was a way to do it, and this was the product of it. So what you see right here is a gold bar choice variant of Kaguya-sama. So the goal of this deck is basically to compress your deck through deck filtering and getting into deck states that are helpful for you to cancel out damage while setting up the resources that you need to finish with the 3/2 Chica that combos with the gold bar. So before we get onto this deck profile, I want to remind you guys to please like this video if you want to see more budget deck profiles, and subscribe for more content, because I will be posting more videos besides deck profiles. I'll be posting discussion videos, and I have a few more match videos to come to edit and upload. So without further ado, let's get on to the deck profile, starting off with the climaxes. So you play 4 choice and 4 gold bar. And now going on to the level zeros, we play 4 copies of the flag Chica. So you basically are using this Chica not for the first ability, which is a discard a card and salvage the 1/0 event backup, but you're playing it for the second effect, which is at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if the card revealed is level 1 or higher, you return this from field into your hand. So this is a coin flip ability, and you're basically using this because since most of the runners, especially the mill runner and clean cut, are way over budget, you need some kind of form of plussing 0 that you can reuse to generate stock. And so I decided that the coin flip is the cheapest option for this deck. So we're playing 4 copies of that. Next we play 3 copies of Kaguya in a Great Mood. So this card is an oversized from the trial deck. So how it becomes an oversized is by her ability. If you have 5 or more cards in your hand, she gains plus 2k. So normally if you go second, you would board these 2 on play on open lanes, so that you would be able to swing and generate stock. And if you do get the coin flip off, the Chica would go back to your hand, giving you the +5, the 5 or more cards requirement, pumping her to 4k on defense. So the goal is to try generate stock while trying to control board at the 0 step. Hence why I play this oversized Kaguya at 3, since this is not your main opener going first. Next we play 3 copies of the critical hit Chica. So what she does is when she comes into play, you may discard a card and salvage this 1/0 Love Detective event. So what this Love Detective event does is when you can only play this when you have Chica on board. And essentially what it does is when you play it, you get to reveal up to the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose one Shuujin character from among them and add it to your hand. And then after you've done that effect, you can select a cost 0 character on your opponent's center stage and return it to your hand. So this is your main form of deck control plus board control, since this is able to answer cost zeros that are problematic, whether it be cost 0 oversizes at the one step, any cost 0 bombs, whether it be level 1 or level 0 bombs that could potentially hinder your plays for next turn. So this is able to allow you to clear up lanes to push for more damage, as well as thin out your deck to compress further. So we're gonna put these two together. So then we play 3 copies of the God of Thunder Chica. So she has this card is a Salvage Brainstorm, but she does have the demerit that if you do play her from hand and you do not control another Shuujin character, she immediately goes into the waiting room. So you basically play her as after you played something on board at the 0 step, and after that she just becomes a Salvage Brainstorm. So her effect is you pay 1, tap this card, reveal the top 4 cards, and for each climax revealed you can salvage a character from your waiting room. Next we play 2 copies of the Valet I. This is the trial deck I. So she is basically your 9th opener if you don't open with these, because she becomes, if you have 3 or less cards in stock, she gains 1k, so she's a 3k oversize. And her on-play ability is pay 1, discard a card from your hand, choose a Shuujin character from your waiting room and add it back to your hand, and then give another character plus 1k. So this is your form of hand fixing at the 1 step, besides this one, besides the critical hit Chica. So this helps you manipulate your hand, fix your hand, and get you what you need, which is playables during that turn. Next we play 1 copy of Dignified Appearance Kaguya. So this is the climax swap. If you remember from the previous Kaguya deck profile, I already explained what she does. So you basically use her because since you're playing, you want to take advantage of the fact that gold bar will most likely come into your hand, and being able to swap it for the choice that you need for the 1-step combo is kind of key, since you're not able to dig for choice except by drawing into it. So this is your way of kind of making sure that you land your 1-step combo, and vice versa, because sometimes you might cancel out most of your gold bars and you draw into the choice, and if you need the gold bar to close the game, this allows you to get that. So that's why you play the climax swapper in this deck. And then we play 1 copy of the stock swap and twin drive skill Miss Innocent Kaguya. So this is there for just stock swapping and putting your opponent in awkward deck states in order to basically win the game. Next, we play 4 copies of Serious Showdown Between Geniuses Chica. So she pairs with the Choice Climax, and her continuous ability is that if all the characters on board are Shuujin, she gains plus 1k. So she's a 5/5, and she pairs with this climax combo. So when this climax combo is placed while she's on board, you get to choose one of the 2 effects. The first one is when this card attacks, you can select a cost 0 character on board and send it to the waiting room, and this card gets plus 1k. The second ability that you could choose from is if this card reverses an opponent's character by battle, you can select a card from your waiting room and salvage it. So the reason why this climax combo is preferable compared to the other budget options, and I know this is settling at 3 or 4, which is why the deck's price is at 50, is because this card essentially allows you to answer the climax combos that have the defensive ability, where if you front this character, you return it to your opponent's hand, they go back to your opponent's hand. And since climax combos like the 1-0 Aaron from ALT are very difficult to manage, and since they can, even if you do they don't bounce it and they use the events to protect the Aaron, you essentially gave them a +1 So this Chica is there to deny those +1s, those defensive +1s, by just sending that character to the waiting room. So you would basically execute that cost 0 and push for damage, precision damage, since it's still considered a front. And another reason why you would also do this is if you see if you see the board state where your opponent plays cost 0 bombs or level 1 bombs that force trades, this immediately can remove that trade and put it into your favor, because you would be able to clear that lane and just push for more damage, which is usually the goal that you want to do early game, which is try to push for that early game damage lead, because that's the only way you can successfully like play ahead with this deck, since you're doing a lot of deck thinning already with your 1-0 Chica event, the brainstorm, and your plus, and if you do everything right, you're generally plussing through your other cards. So this card is just there to kind of deny your opponent the ability to plus, and if your opponent doesn't have those combos, you just resort to those on reverse salvage, which pluses you even more. So that's why I like this Chica, because it's a Swiss Army knife response against decks that have defensive level 1s that are not data live, which will try to out-muscle you instead. Next, we play 2 copies of the Chica Adachi. Her real name is the card's name is Chica Having Faraway Thoughts. So if you remember what Adachis are, so they're basically level 1 anti-early play bombs. But for this one, this is a stock bomb. So essentially, when this card gets reversed and the character that reverses card is higher than your opponent's current level, you send that card to the top of your opponent's stock, and your opponent puts the bottom of their stock into the waiting room. So this allows you to answer early plays, and it's also really good against minus soul walls, especially minus soul level 3s, because being able to just answer, clear that lane, and prevent them from pushing more damage is just key, since the only way they can answer the Adachi is either siding it or just crashing into the Adachi and losing the trade there, because most of the time it's easier to play around anti-early play backups, but Adachis are very hard to deal with, since if you side them, you just give your opponent a plus in terms of stock advantage. So this card is just there for threatening early plays, especially standby early plays. Next, we play 2 copies of the Additional Blow U. So this card is basically Shaken Megumin from Konosuba. So it's an anti-early play backup. So it's a 1k backup by itself. But if you use this as a backup, you can discard an additional 2 cards and select a character on your opponent's board whose level is higher than their current level and send it to the waiting room. The reason why we're playing both an Adachi and an anti-early play backup is because Data Live is prevalent, is 100% guaranteed to be prevalent in the metagame, and being able to have 2 answers, for one offensive and one defensive, is helpful, because since Data Live will pretty much be the toughest matchup for this deck, since the Love Detective won't be able to answer their 1-step, and you need to be able to find a way to answer their 1-step and get it off the board, or force them to burn resources to preserve it. So having both the inclusion of the Adachi and anti-early play backup is key, and this is how this deck can pretty much still be competitive against those matchups. Next, we play 2 copies of the Bewitching Pose Kaguya, which is the free fresh backup. I don't need to, if you guys remember from the previous video, it's basically a 2/5 backup that you pay 1 and send it from your hand to the discard pile to give 2/5. And if you were to use this as a backup, you pay an additional 2 stock to send all the cards from your waiting room back into the deck and shuffle it. So this card is just there to fix your deck state and get you back into a safer deck state to survive at level 2. Next, we play 2 copies of the Full Throttle U. So the reason why we're playing multiple copies of the Soul Triggers is because when you trigger a choice, you can either salvage or stock it. So I want to have multiples out available for me, so I can have one to play out and one just to stock to build up that stock compression. So what this U does is it's a level 3 assist. So any level 3s in front of this card gets plus 2k, and during your opponent's turn, if they use a brainstorm ability any brainstorm ability and they reveal a climax, you can choose one of your characters and give an additional plus 2k. So this punishes them from trying to thin out their deck and plus even further to try to get any resources that they need for either that turn or the follow for their next few turns. And it allows you to basically defensively win boards. So that's why I play it as this assist over the other level 3 assist that this deck has. Next, you play 2 copies of the Persistent Conviction Miyuki. So this is your early play clock kick from, I already explained the effects on this one. So you basically play this at 2 just so you can handle the standby matchup and break their boards really easily. Next, we play 3 copies of the Serious Showdown Between Genius I, which is the other early play that Kaguya has access to. But since the standby build doesn't have the flexibility to play that early play, I decided that in this build it's actually a lot more easier, since you're gonna have 4 more characters on board and you need some form of healing at the early play stages. So I decided to play this, and if you control 2 or more other Shuchin characters, it gains the ability plus 1500 and the continuous ability that your opponent cannot play events during battles involving this card. So this is essentially your form of damage mitigation at the early stages. And then lastly, we play 4 copies of Love Detective Chica. So this card combos with the gold bar. So what she does is when she comes into play, it's an on-play heal, and she gets 500 for every other character on board that is Shuchin trait. And if this card gets a reverse, you essentially pay 3, discard 2, and you can burn equal to the number of Love Detectives in the waiting room twice. So if you have 2 Love Detectives in the waiting room and you get the reverse, you can burn 2 twice. So this is essentially Birdcage Diva Yukina, except you can modulate that damage based on the number of events. So you can burn, if you have multiples out on board, you can burn 2 for the first hit 2 times and then burn 3 for the second hit, or even burn 1 2 times. So this allows you to modulate and help you close the game at the similar ratio as the 3-2 Kaguya. So if you modulate how many of these events are in the waiting room, you essentially hit the same number of instances of damage as the 3-2 Kaguya from this set. So this is why this deck is so competitive, because the finisher is pretty much similar in numbers of instances of damage as the mainline competitive deck. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. I will be doing more videos in the near future. So the next video I'll probably be showcasing is my I guess quote unquote finalized version of Data Live right now, until we get Data Bullet, and I'll show you guys that list after playtesting with that deck for 3 months. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys want to see more budget deck profiles, like this video and subscribe, and hit the notification button, because that tells me that you guys like to see more content like this in the future. Once again, this is Platinum Point. Don't forget to once again rate, comment, and subscribe. Stay on point, guys. Peace out.